Can you say boy real quick?
Wait a minute, motherfucker. Did they tell you ahead of time you were gonna die?
Actually, I was the last one to know. I was like, what the did I do wrong?
The Fenrir scene for me, about like a week before my dog passed away.
First judge is Flatulence.
That's when you know you're in a good place with people you love. As a matter of fact.
No! I don't know if she had with Brock and Sindri, but she definitely had with some dwarves. We got together, we talked about it, just me and the Holder brothers, you know.
That wasn't talking.
Mine's actually not sad.
Oh, get out!
You're watching convention coverage.
How has travel been across the 9 realms?
Exhausting. Now, whoops, spoiler. No.
The overarching theme of these games really has been family. All of the main characters lose someone or are suffering the repercussions of past loss. They all have tremendous character development, but how did you take the personal losses of those characters and express it in a way that the player would resonate? Because I felt like I was watching, I mean, they are films. It's a film that you can play through. So that was just, it was, how were you able to do that so realistically and connect with people in that way?
Well, first of all, I want to ask you to do something. Can you say boy real quick?
Wait a minute, motherfucker. I know, I thought you were auditioning for a second. You know something I don't know? And the way it resonates with you. And you need to make some money, dog.
Boy.
There you go. Somebody's out of a job.
Chris?
So for me, the most obvious loss was Brock when it happened. And that was such an amazing moment for us all, I think, when we were there, because what it meant to us. Because it's Robert, because it's personal. And how Adam dealt with that was so beautiful, and how everybody sort of reacted in the moment, and then afterwards at the funeral, it was a great connection for all of us to feel what was going on there, and that's just what we're there for, to have those moments, to actually feel connected with each other.
Did they tell you ahead of time you were gonna die?
Well, actually, I was the last one to know.
Isn't that always the way?
Yeah, they already had everybody's contract signed and everything, and then they're going, oh, by the way. No, that's not true. They actually took me to breakfast, and the writers did, Matt Sophos and Richard Gobbert, and
it's Gobert.
Gobert, excuse me. And told me the whole layout of the game. And then at the end, they told me that Brock dies. And I was like, what the did I do wrong? You know? I mean, but they described it to me, and this was the first time this was said, actually. Corey Barlog had said that if you want to rip the heart out of the audience, you have to kill the family dog. And yeah, you're right. I don't know how I should have taken that, but I thought, you know, they're right. They're right. And I mean, for the game, you know, I felt like it was very impactful, and the actors, all I had to do was lay there and die. All of the acting was done by these wonderful people around me, and the day that we filmed that scene, it was very emotional. Everyone was there, and because we've all been working together for 10 years, it was a very moving moment for all of us, and it's because of you that we were able to be together so long, and it was, and of course Adam, he delivered every single take. I mean, tears, real tears, streaming down as he held me every single take, and I just have to commend him for that.
Because you were really heavy. Well, first of all, Robert, you didn't just have to lay there and die. If you guys could have seen what I saw on his face, you probably would have cried as well. It was beautiful.
Ah.
And yeah, I think the other thing too is that you know, as I'm sure you guys are in life, if you're doing something that's a little scary or you're putting yourself out there, you just want to know you're around people you trust and that they have your back. And that's what those days were like for me. All I had to do was look in my fellow actors' eyes, and I saw their truth of what was happening in front of me, or how protective everybody was, especially led by Chris. The day we shot the scene with Kratos and Atreus, and then the funeral scene, man, that was heavy. I found out at a lunch, and they walked me through the game, and I had no idea. I had signed my contract, but I had no idea that was going to be the plot line. And my first question was, have you told Robert? Because I knew I was going to have to call Robert as soon as lunch was over, because that just broke my heart. And then after that, to your answer about making it real, to answer your question, it was just doing I've said this to people, imagine if somebody you loved that you were keeping in your house because it was the safest place, and the worst villain snuck into your house and killed them in front of you with your own kitchen implement. And then they couldn't go to heaven because you screwed up. That's kind of what I just reduced it to. And, you know, it's people and asking me to sign stuff and having me sign quotes after Brock's death, and it still gets me close.
I think the way in for me, and I probably speak for my fellow actors, is, you know, finding aspects of my life that could relate with what Freya was going through. Moments I felt grief, betrayal, loss, love lost. I've never had a son who's died, but you know, I have nieces and nephews. I've experienced loss. I've had a divorce. I know what it's like to feel betrayed. And so if our job is to tell the truth in these imaginary circumstances, it's just to anchor in on how I could relate with that as Danielle. And then we have come to love each other so greatly and these characters so greatly. And and as Adam said, there's a reverence every time we walk into the volume, definitely led by Chris Judge, our leader, to just such a sacred space that we owed it to these characters to just rip our hearts out time and time again. And we did.
Truly.
I didn't have a heart.
Well, you did rip out an eyeball, or somebody else ripped that out. I don't know.
I think one of the hardest things too is actually screaming at were you 14 when we shot those scenes?
Yeah.
Screaming and telling you to off as a 15-year-old young man standing there, and I'm going at you as if you're my dad or something like that. It's like, oh God.
Set me up for the real world.
What do you know about the real world? 17-year-old. Are you 18?
Next question.
You just turned 18?
Yeah.
When?
Like 12 days ago.
Oh, happy birthday!
Okay, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Great question. Were there any past scenes from either game that got you guys really emotional or that you really resonated with?
The Fenrir scene for me. Because when I did that scene, about like a week before my dog passed away.
Oh.
So I got to kind of use that emotion into my character, so I definitely resonated with that. That was way too sad. Everyone got really
I can't top a dog, no.
They're both really sad questions. Have a happy one next.
I'll top the dog. It was holding my dead son in my arms.
Oh my goodness.
That speech was so beautifully written, and so much of our characters were written to absolute perfection. I mean, we had like 40 hours to flesh these characters out, like per game, and so they left no stone unturned. But I would say that speech for Freya, and then the redemptive moment of, you know, saying you have no hold on me anymore, you know, bow to your queen, was just such a great payoff, because she finally earned that moment, I would say. Yeah.
Well, for me, I always had an affinity for the characters. My father and one of his brothers got into a conflict and did not speak to each other for 30 years. And it wasn't until the death of one of their sons did they come back together at the funeral. And so I just, you know, it kind of, the whole relationship I had with Sindri reminded me of my brother, without the humor, because they didn't think it was funny, you know. But yeah, so I use that a lot. You know, as an actor, you find things from your own life that you draw from. And
I think with anybody that's played Ragnarok knows that every scene after you die pretty much broke me. But, you know, the one that really surprises people that I had to really dig deep for was Kratos' snack.
Kratos snack.
That's a joke.
Chris?
I don't need no snack. You know, there's so much stuff. For me, it was probably when Kratos sees the final triptych where he's loved and celebrated. Like the first game was difficult because it was about, you know, my relationship with my kids, but I had such a great relationship with Sonny, it made it easy. Ragnarok for Kratos' arc was me. Probably like many people, I grew up feeling like I was unworthy of love or unworthy to be loved. And I lived most of my life that way. And through a lot of therapy, I realized that everyone deserves to be loved. Everyone deserves love. And everyone is capable of loving another. No one is beyond redemption. So that for me was it.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While filming God of War, was there a running joke that you guys had that you guys just kept coming back to just to keep teasing everyone about?
Chris judges flatulence.
Oh, Rob.
Well, I mean, that's when you know you're safe, when you can just fart. That's when you know you're in a good place with people you love.
Yeah.
Just, you know? As a matter of fact,
No, you don't want this.
You know what an SBD is? He just did it.
Flatulence confirmed. There we are.
we didn't really have a continuous running joke, but every day was like tomfoolery, you know? Not to say that, you know, we weren't appropriate when it was required.
But we were very, very inappropriate when it wasn't.
You know, I've always thought we're in entertainment, so making entertainment should be entertaining. You know, we're not curing no diseases. We're not. So it should be fun to make it, to feel happy when you get to go to work. It's not like I have to come to work. I get to go to work today because I know today's going to be fun because I'm around all these people that I love, you know, and everyone has a great sense of humor, and it's truly one of the reasons that I think this has been so successful is because the relationships you see here and the feelings that we're talking about for each other are very genuine, and I think that the proof is always in the pudding.
But as Chris said, when it was time to anchor in the reality, we all had such respect for one another that we would put the flatulence away, and we would.
No, he wouldn't.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, so mine's actually not sad.
Oh, get out!
Yeah, mine is specifically, was there a specific blooper or moment that didn't get into the game that you wish
Yes.
had?
Everyone knows this one. So Freya is, Kratos is in her home under Charlie, or in Charlie as it were, right? And in Midgard, and I'm telling him that I need him to go get me some white petaled flowers outside. You all know this one. And he goes, where? And I go, it's a white flower. It grows outside, just a handful, you know. And I'm basically excusing him from the house. And then he walked away and said, flowers. I'm the mother God of War. And it was the greatest improv of all time. I really had wished they had kept it because it was so on brand. I mean, he had never been told to go pick flowers, and Freya was flexing a little bit of her goddess power in that moment. So
The ones I love are Robert's.
Yeah.
you know, I think you all know that generally they're all one continuous take. Can't have cuts, can't. And God bless him. First of all, Robert's one of the greatest cussers I've ever met. It's like, how did you even put that together and make it work? But what I would love is we get, and I'm thinking of one scene in particular, it was a really long scene. And we got down to your last line, and Robert dropped the line. And that stream of cussing.
That was real cussing.
May have been one of the greatest just streams.
They should have just used that. You know? I mean, one of my favorite scenes that they did not include, and I don't know why. I asked Eric Williams, I was going, what happened to this scene? And he goes, well, we just decided we didn't need it. And it was really not much of anything. It was the camera's following Atreus through the house as he's sneaking out, right? Mm-hmm. And panning through the house, and Brock is in the kitchen washing dishes, and all I'm wearing is an apron. And I'm like washing dishes and humming a little song. My little blue butt, or my big blue butt, is just bouncing around. I don't know. Don't you think we should have kept it?
Absolutely.
That's what you call. It's what you call a blue moon.
They only let you keep scenes like that once in a blue moon, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What is your guys' favorite moment between Kratos and Mimir?
One of my favorite moments actually was when we first met. And I can't remember what my line was, what I say to you about Atreus, and you said, I'm going to cut your head off now. I said, fair enough. I cut my head off, and it was like, okay, this is what I've got to do, and that's the way it went on. And then he just calling me head, or head rather. That's Scottish. Calling me head, like just dismissing, and then how the relationship just grew until we were actually, communicating. Yeah. And there was these were friends. So I can't think of a specific. There was no specific moment. It was just the journey that we've gone on. How the relationship has changed throughout the two games, which has been really, really good fun. And yeah,
truly, I think. So there's a running joke about how much I hate the boat scenes.
Yeah.
But I've really when we do story time.
Yeah.
Alastair's such a wordsmith, and with that lovely accent, I found myself really starting to like the boat scenes because these great stories he tells and the way that he tells them, and that's very much an insight into you as a person.
Thank you.
And it always has. It's always like he's winking underneath the stories, but also he's opening his heart to give you a place to come into if you need it. Like, all his stories are for a reason, but they're also entertaining.
Thank you.
Good day.
Good day, sir. What's y'all's favorite moment from across the two games?
I love the shocks in Ragnarok. I love in a terrible way Brock's death. I love that Tyr turns into Odin, and those moments for me were phenomenal. And the way that all the relationships changed, the way that my relationship with Freya changed, the way that my relationship with Atreus, and all of that. So there wasn't specific. There were not specific moments. They were what we did, how the stories progress, and how we progress as characters.
I think ripping out the roots was really gratifying to finally be able to break that spell and the ties that were binding me to that old life and to Odin. And then to finally get that noose around his neck. And I just felt like I was the cat and he was the mouse, and I was just sort of batting at him a little bit. And then I finally got to flex those Valkyrie wings for the very first time. And even though they didn't actually physically come out of my back, I could energetically feel the power of that moment. Yeah, that felt really great to finally reclaim her power.
Well, I guess for me, the scene when I see the lady and I realize that she can't see me, and Kratos, is there to console me, comfort me, but it was that was like the most powerful moment. I knew it was probably the most powerful moment for my character. The realization of what's happened, and it's like everything has come to. I mean, everything's been explained to me, and I knew that scene had to be powerful, and it was very important. And because, like I said, all I do is lay there and die in the death scene, But but no, that scene was to me, that meant the most. That had the most meaning to me. Yeah.
All of it. But destroying Odin's soul was awfully fun.
Yeah, Sindri's my favorite character just because of that arc alone, honestly.
I'll give you 20 after.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
I know the writers did a lot of wonderful study and research into Norse myth, but I'm curious if any of you all did your own study for Norse myth, and if there were any key points that inspired your roles.
Well, they're looking at me because I went down the Wikipedia rabbit hole, and then one Norse mythology .org after the other. Once I knew who she was, because I found out at the table read that I was in God of War, and I thought I was going to get fired immediately, actually for the first few months. But yeah, so I love research. It's just, I nerded out. And it was really interesting to find out, is she Frigg? Is she Freya? Freya with a Y, Freya with a Y and a J, and all these little things. But I mean, you're going to find some things that will contradict one another, but really through and through, the essence of who she was, what remained the same throughout. So it was very helpful for me. Also, too, we did this really cool thing. What was it? Survivalist camp we went to? Yeah. And that was really helpful because it helped us to move about in a way that was not of the 21st century. It was how would you move about in this Norse world, however many thousands of whatever years ago as a god, as a goddess, how would you survive in the wilderness? And I thought that was really helpful. So that this was back in the first game where we really were sort of hunting and gathering for clues on how to bring these, at least me, to bring these characters to life. So yes, I'm the nerd who came in with the notebook with all of the notes.
I love that.
So we're all now qualified for Naked and Afraid.
Third grade, I read a book on Greek mythology. So. That was my research.
What the hell?
There was a really upsetting story though about how she got.
God, no one was at the mic.
How she got the Persigamon necklace was apparently that it was forged by the dwarves, but to get it, she had to bed them all.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
But wait, how did you read the book on Greek mythology at 8?
It was a picture book.
It was a picture book.
Pop-up book? I don't remember.
I don't know if she had sex with Brock and Sindri, but she definitely had sex with some dwarves.
Where the hell did that come from?
This is what I said. In the prose edda, it said that the way she got the Persigamon necklace was she loved gold so much, goddess of gold, and the dwarves were had this beautiful necklace, and she was I love this necklace. They're great, you're gonna have to sleep with each of us to get it, and apparently she did. But I just don't think that. I mean, I don't know if I trust that story.
Wait a minute, that's the interesting one.
Yeah, I think that these were all scenes that we cut
did
from the
research.
Yeah. They're there somewhere.
We did research.
We got together, we talked about it, just me and the Holder brothers,
That wasn't talking.
They held me.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
How do you guys, and Sunny, how do you feel about seeing everybody change, and how you guys feel about Sunny changing into this amazing actor that we get to see on screen? And I love your Atreus, by the way.
Hey, thank you, man. Well, I would just, first of all, thank everyone for being practically like my second family, off and on set. And I feel like I've kind of just had a great opportunity to grow up with everyone and work with everyone, especially for such a long time. Obviously, starting at 8, it wasn't like easy for me, so everyone got to kind of show me the ropes of, how to make a pretty good video game. So, yeah.
And he's a decent farter now.
I've learned from the best.
I first saw Sonny yesterday after a few months. I haven't seen him. And he's grown again since the last time I saw him. And it so reminds me of my relationship with my kids. 'Cause I met you when you were like right before your 9th birthday.
Yeah.
And he's gone from this kid who had the attention span of 30 seconds on a good day to when we came back from Ragnarok, he came in with notes and suggestions about the scene. And one part of me was like, holy, he is now a young man, and it was just so great to see the transformation. And it's so, your relationship to your emotions is generally easier when you're younger because you haven't been sullied by the world. So at 17, 16, 15, 16, 17, Sonny's willingness to deal with emotional stuff, it was just very lovely to watch and to see how much he had grown up, especially because I missed so much of my own kids growing up. It was just wonderful. It was a wonderful process, not only as work, but just on a human level. And when he first suggested certain things in the scene, I just shut the. You don't know what you're talking about. No, I was very. No, it was just I knew like every line. It was just wonderful, and just to see the process of your maturation is just really lovely, man. I hope to speak for all of us. We're all so proud of you.
Yep. Thank you so much.
So about how much time did it take you in total, like actually working on the game to finish it?
Oh my goodness, who knows?
Well, first game took 5 years.
Yeah.
Second game took about a little over 3.
3.5, 4 years.
It's hard to put a marker on it because you could come in for a few days, a few weeks, and then
We had
But
a break of
everything
about
is
a
so
year.
secretive.
Yeah.
That,
We had a break, during the COVID, we had a break of a year when we were off, like we didn't do anything and then came back. So
and it's not consecutive. So like on a film, you'll have like a 25, 30-day shoot. Like this is like you'll come in and then a month or two will go by and then you come back. So could you even put a timestamp?
no.
Yeah, and then as far as the scenes that you're doing, when they call and book you, what do they give us? About a week to prepare, if that,
Or less.
Yeah. So you don't know what you're doing until maybe within a week of when you're actually shooting it, because they're rewriting and they're and they want it to be secret and they don't want it getting out there because you guys enjoy being surprised, so.
And they want it to be perfect. Their level of excellence is so high. And I think you guys, how many times we hear that, greatest game ever, best character development. That's because our writers have such integrity and the crew, the team.
So
and they're
it takes
truly
a really
gamers.
long time?
They all came up as gamers. So they have a level of reverence to God of War that, honestly, a lot of writers and producers don't have in any medium. But they are so reverential to the story and to the fans' love of Kratos. They love Kratos also. We all love. But they love every character. And every character is important. And every character gets the same amount of discussion and love that all the characters do.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
What to you
is the most fascinating part about exploring international mythologies?
How much a god or a goddess is the humanity, right? The humanity piece inside these gods and goddesses. And so if you think about it, if human beings created the gods or did gods create the human beings, there's this reflection, right? There's a mirror happening here for us to understand ourselves better and also to understand like the gods. So I thought that that connection was quite extraordinary.
The fighting.
The fighting.
Yeah. Scenes are cool. Kratos got blades. I got arrows.
Oh yeah.
So it's cool.
He's grown up so much.
What Danielle said.
What Danielle?
Yeah, none of us have got anything. We're all like, what?
Yeah.
It's only because I'm sleeping with them. That's why they're like enamored with me right now.
But further than that, it was the age I discovered, because I remember studying all that stuff in school when I was a kid, and I'm like, oh, cool gods and half gods and all that stuff. But I guess the growing up and realizing that all those stories were made just to reflect what we're going through as a way for us to see it. I thought that was really cool, and it opened up to the world of storytelling to me.
Exactly, and plus it's really what an actor does in preparation for
The fighting.
For a role. As far as the character, it's a reflection of a part of you, and that's what it's emulating. So.
Thank you, guys.
Well, everyone, let's get one more round of applause for them.